the way you make it in this business is through the people you know. Find your network, grow your network, be good friends to your network, and your work will grow along with making quality content, obviously. But that's just something I don't think a lot of people talk about enough, is that to grow a business, it's who you know. And if you don't know anybody, go out there and do your best to try to meet people, whatever way you can.
Hey everyone, today we have on Taylor Lewis from Atomic City in Salt Lake City. You're going to like this episode if you're running your own production company and or are interested in discussing methods for getting new business. Taylor covers how he and his two brothers went from lighting each other on fire and filming it when they were young into a full-blown production company 20 years later, working with brands such as Amazon, Microsoft, and DJI. Rather than leaning into the craft and techniques of filmmaking on this one, we pushed down the path of getting new clients, especially when you don't have reps. So you may hear some strategies that you can use and certainly at least get confirmation about what is and is not working for us. Taylor highlights how networking has been one of the biggest contributors to landing his new clients and gives some helpful tips on how Atomic City turns clients into fans.
A garden of pure ideology.
Yeah, just your typical Super Bowl car ad.
Or a hilarious beer ad.
Break was over 15 minutes ago, Mitch!
I think you're the best ever.
Look down, back up. Where are you?
You're in the bush.
Well, how am I supposed to know? I've never been there.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do...
I think we're gonna be here a while.
By now, I will have bragged on you a little bit on my own, but could you introduce yourself?
So, my name is Taylor Lewis. Me and my two older brothers, we own a video production company, and we kind of got our start when we were like super young because we grew up, like we've already talked about, we grew up in Utah, and we didn't grow up in Salt Lake City. We grew up in a little town, like an hour and a half away. There was nothing to do. So what we did is we lit things on fire and blew them up and blew things up in our parents' backyard. We sometimes lit ourselves on fire. And surprisingly, our mom loved it. Like she thought it was super cool. Like she, to this day, still brags about us. She's like our number one fan. Anyway, so from there, like we realized that we really liked making movies and just filming this stuff. And so we started our production company like in high school, doing local wedding videos or doing videos for our high school and doing things from there. And slowly, it took a lot of years for us to actually like make a profit. It really just came from us learning how to find our voice and meeting other people in like the film industry that gave us a chance to work on other commercials that actually paid money. And from there, like being good, like finding people, becoming good friends with them and using that network to grow our business. We eventually landed Amazon as a client, and we've done plenty of launch videos like we kind of talked about just a second ago. Like we've done a product launch video for a Kindle, for the Amazon Prime Music, for the Amazon Echo. Like we've done all those launch videos. And from there, like from that process of like going from absolute making nothing for years to leveraging our network to making 6 figures working with Amazon, Microsoft, and all these like big companies, we have now decided like we should help other filmmakers do that. So it doesn't take like, 15 years to make $600,000 a year, or something like that. So we're like, we made it an online course we're now making an online course to help other filmmakers not take a 15-year experience and do it in 3 or 4 months, start making an actual living type of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good run. The teaching stuff is interesting to me because I'm recently finding that there are things that I've seen for years and I was like, cool, I'm different. I'm going to bust through and do it my way. And there's a couple of things now where I'm just like, I should have just done it the right way from the start. So yeah, I checked out your Filmmakers Handbook. I am calling it correctly, right? That PDF. Yeah, that's a nice little cheat sheet you guys put together. And that one's free, right? Like I can include that in the show notes so people can just go download that handbook. Yeah, it's a nice, it's a good starter pack. for figuring stuff out. There were a couple things I needed a good reminder of.
It's something that like I made it specifically just because like when I was starting to in the industry, you know, it's just like there's just certain things that it takes repetitive, like in your brain, you got to think about to like know what to do, like how to light a scene, or like what like white balance should I be set at right now? Or one thing that still confuses me, like I'm dyslexic, so I get numbers mixed up all the time. And like the number of your aperture. So like a big number, so like you have a 22 aperture, that means like it's like closed. There's not letting a lot of light in. And to me, I feel like it should be the opposite. I think it should be a small number, and small number means your aperture is really wide open. And all the time, it still to this day confuses me. And so like that cheat sheet is something I made it that specifically for. So like when I'm on set, like, do I want a big aperture or do I want a small aperture? I don't know. And I can use that cheat sheet. That's really why I made it.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're being honest, ISO is the one that gets me. So I'm usually just in those, that's the opposite of what you're talking about. I just sometimes still don't get it, but your handbook. Yeah, this thing's cool. So I'm definitely going to link this. And this is something you just give away for free on your website.
Yeah. It's free for anyone that wants it. They can go download it, put it on their phone, use it on set.
Yeah, I think you're definitely checking the box of that organized type of person, because this is becoming, I don't want to say trendy, just some people who I admire are doing this. I think they've had to make such good systems for themselves that they realize I should just share this, because this will be very beneficial to other people as well.
Oh, the biggest thing for us is just like, as you know, it's hard to be a filmmaker. It's hard to like step in this industry and know how to make a good commercial. And then from there, find someone that is willing to pay you for that good commercial. And so it's just like, we learned the ins and outs of how to be like really good networkers and be like, make really good clients. And so we just wanted to kind of help other people kind of do that same thing. Just figure out how to use their network to leverage like a career out of it, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's nice because the handbook links to because you guys do have a course, right? Because you turned more of your knowledge into a course, I believe, correct?
And that course is called Film Creator Pro. So yeah, that handbook kind of links to that course, and you can go check it out. We have a bunch of different videos on there, probably 10 hours of content teaching people all the ins and outs of how to be a professional filmmaker.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, that's nice of you guys to do that. Certainly seems to, yeah. So like I was saying earlier, that the people who I respect, like Noam Kroll, actually, did you end up talking to Noam recently?
We did.
How was that?
Did his podcast like a week and a half ago. It was great.
Yeah.
We had to
He's
reschedule
awesome,
because some conflicts, but yeah, he's awesome. He's way cool.
He's a really nice guy. He does a lot of stuff like that. He puts out a lot of color LUTs and courses, and he's got this kind of exclusive community that you can pay to be a part of called the Backlot. And he provides a bit of value there. I'm still in that. I haven't checked it recently, but it's very good. He brings on some cool people. No, I was just going to say, I think it is weird. If you could look at it from a cynical angle or like purely transactional. Like, I don't know if you've heard the phrase education-based marketing. It is very much a thing, to try and grow by teaching others. But then there's kind of the way you seem to have done it, where you're like, well, I've already made this for myself anyway. I should just share it with other people. I tried to do that once or twice. It was probably dumb. Like I put up a screenwriting and Trello video on YouTube, and it's a process that totally works for me. But sometimes I'm like, I don't know, man, I might look like an idiot putting this out here, but
I definitely look like an idiot when I do it. But like the biggest thing for us is that the course is like, for some people out there making courses, it's like a full-time gig for them. And that's something that we kind of pride ourselves is that it's not a full-time gig, and we don't ever want it to be a full-time gig. And it's not saying that we don't want to put like solid content on there to help people out, but like our full-time gig is video production, making commercials and like making feature films. And then on the side, we want to take that knowledge that we're continually learning how to be better feature filmmakers, better commercial filmmakers. And we want to like turn that and make course videos out of that to help our current students. So we never like ever want to be like, have the the course take over and stop doing production work and stop making movies, because we're not trying to be full-time educators. We're really trying to bridge that gap of like, we have this production company where we're doing work for Amazon and like big companies and continually doing that. And we're just going to take the little tidbits of information that we learn and kicking it back to the newbies of the film world so that they can learn quicker, type of stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, they'll be lucky to grab some stuff. I'm going to try to ask you some things that, that hopefully are productive today, if I ask the question properly. But I want to go back, because you did say specifically feature films and commercials. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you are in a category that a lot of us are in. I'm putting myself in that category too, where you're living two lives at the same time. You're living your feature film life and also your commercial life. Commercial, more producing. I know you guys wear a lot of hats in your production company between you and your brothers as well, but
yeah.
Am I understanding correct? So that is the goal for you guys. You're alternating between commercials and making your own features.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of like, that's our goal. And I think that's, from what I've learned throughout my like career is doing this, is like, that's kind of like what everyone does, like even like the big time directors, like I even know like directors like Wes Anderson, he still does commercials now, even though like that man's made some of the greatest films ever, but he still does commercials. And so it's not like, some people think doing commercial work is kind of like beneath a filmmaker, like an indie filmmaker, but it's really not. They're one and the same type of thing. It's like, you got to juggle like making your own feature films, working on other people's feature films, but at the same time, when you're first starting out, to bring in money, and even later on, like you do commercial work too, because there's a lot of money to be made in commercials. There just is. And it's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said Wes Anderson. I do think so. Yeah. Obviously there's the greats, right? Who have made, I know Scorsese has done some commercials too, but I would also argue, and I'm sure that there's a batch of people who would agree, not to do the whole our generation is the best. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying confidently is that we are up against different variables than Scorsese's generation. I think everyone pretty much has to be a predator these days. You heard that phrase, the producer, director, editor.
Yeah.
Technology is the great equalizer, and it kind of feels like we're all racing towards the middle as Hollywood budgets are getting stripped lower and lower. Maybe Netflix isn't seeing the ROI on that Dwayne Johnson movie. Maybe they are. I don't know. I didn't finish it, but and then people on the other end of that, are also breaking into the indie feature film sphere and even commercial producing and directing sphere, because they're getting better or we're getting better. And I mean, you guys are doing stuff for Amazon, and that's really cool. And you're also making your own features. And I don't know, I guess what I'm just trying to communicate is I think there was a ladder you had to climb to get there before, and you can kind of make that stuff happen on your own now. That's one of the reasons I was excited when you reached out, because you guys seem tenacious. You seem like you're on that climb and doing pretty well. So I'll come back to talking turkey here. Let's go to your clients for a second. So do you, I'm just going to guess, because I think Salt Lake and that general area, it's a very tech friendly area, right? Do you feel that where you guys are has benefited you client wise?
I mean, sort of, because obviously like doing local work is what eventually led us to working with Amazon, because they saw our local commercials that we were doing.
Can you tell me more about that? Let's get, like I said, let's talk turkey. Totally transparent. Let's say someone, they want to be like you and they go, that's awesome, I want to be like them. How though? Like, how do they figure that out? How do they do what you guys do? You're sharing your systems and without giving too much of your course away, I guess. Is there any business stuff in your course, or is it mostly filmmaking?
It handles everything from like what camera to buy, how to use that camera, how to correctly light a scene to make your scenes look cinematic. And then we go into the editing and finish off with like the business end of stuff. So it definitely handles like how we found clients, because that you can't make it in this industry of commercial filmmaking if you don't have clients. And
right,
like you can be a great filmmaker and never make any money because you don't know any, or because you have no network or you have nobody to sell it to. Anyway, so to answer your question, like how we even got to the point where we were making commercials for Amazon, it's kind of a long story. And I brushed over this a little bit with just our origin story I mentioned at the beginning. But really what it came down to is when we were younger, we were making no money. I think our mom even gave us a loan to buy our first camera. And we were, what we were trying to do was just like fit the mold of every other commercial we see on TV. And we wanted to like figure out, like, we were just trying to make those commercials that we saw on TV with our camera. We never could. And what happened is that it took us a while to really find our voice on how to tell like engaging stories, like for us. Like we're really kind of quirky, weird people. And so we like telling quirky, weird commercials. And that's kind of like where we've made our bread and butter is doing that. And once we kind of started figuring that out, we figured out our voice. And then around that time, there was this local commercial contest going on. And these two of the judges were these kind of somewhat famous film directors and a producer. They made kind of a splash in like the mainstream industry of filmmaking, but they were still kind of small time in that realm. And we were like, we need to enter that contest so we meet those guys. Like we need to become best friends with those judges. And so I think we entered like 30 commercials into that contest. And like side note there too, is like the next year that commercial contest put a limit on how many submissions one person could put in because of us. And the next year we still found a workaround and we just submitted under fake names. Still the same amount of commercials, just submitted fake names so we could still win the cash prize.
Well, there are three of you between you and your brothers, right? So you guys could have done like several each. Yeah,
we did 3 between us 3, my mom's name, my brothers-in-laws. Like we had like a whole crew of my family there and we submitted like 40 commercials. And like, I think the most you could submit under one person was like 5 the next year. So we had a ton of people there just to potentially pick our awards for us. Anyway, so long story short with that, like we met those directors because we got into that contest and we did everything we can to be friends with those guys. Like we were production assistants on their sets. Like I think one time my brother Rhett, he was being a PA, which is a production assistant on their set. And the guy was like, hey, Rhett, I need you to go and change the oil in my car because I need to direct this scene, but my wife wants me to change my oil. So can you just go do that? And so my brother took his car to Jiffy Lube and got his oil changed on set. Like that was his job. And because of us being kind of the grunts there, like we became actually good friends with these people. And like one time we saw that they were working on this like multi-million-dollar like ad campaign. And we were like, we thought to ourselves like, gosh, we totally can make one of those commercials. Like we can do it. So we went out and shot like a spec ad for him and then sent it to him like, hey guys, this is what we just did. We want to do it for your campaign you're working on. And they're like, cool, we'll give you a shot. And so
let me insert because I want to make sure I'm tracking properly. So you were aware somehow, which I'd like to know how, that they were in the middle of a campaign.
Yes.
Okay.
So the way just because we kind of, I guess how it happened was the guy called us and was like, hey, you should check out these commercials that we're working on right now. And he just sent them over and we're like, oh man, these are cool. And that's kind of how we kind of were introduced to them. And we were like, we can make one of these easy, you know? And so we went out and made one of, they were like commercials, but they were like mini documentary commercials, like 3-minute long pieces about this person's life. And so we made one, sent it to them and they were like, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Here's one for the campaign. Go give it a shot. See what you can do. And so
did they say, go give us a spec or did they say, here's some budget? Let's see what you can do.
They paid us very little. Like it was like $1,000 or something to shoot our first one. And so they gave us a little bit of money. It was a local guy that we were shooting it on. And so we went there, we shot it with our own stuff and we edited it. So we shot it in 2 days. We took like a week and a half to edit it, all for $1,000. And we sent it back to them and they loved it. They thought it was really great. To this day, it's actually like one of their favorite pieces that they've ever done. And the funny thing too is like we didn't have fancy gear. We shot it on like a Rebel T2i, which for anyone that knows, it's like a $600 camera. Like it's not a good camera. We had and like the mic we used to interview him was a $500 mic that we won in another contest. So it was like bare minimum gear. Like we didn't really know what we were doing. And we just went out and we just wanted to go out and make a really good story. And that's what we did. And they loved it. Anyway, and from there, like they kept hiring us. We did more and more and more. I think we've done like 100 different commercials for that campaign. And ultimately, like Amazon saw these commercials because they were getting pretty good like news press, I guess. And Amazon saw, and they're like, "Hey, who did these commercials?" And they're like,
let's focus on that for a second. Cause I think we're already we got some good momentum here, like hearing about your business. So Amazon saw some commercials. I mean, that's a huge, I don't know how to describe that right now, but that's a pretty, I don't know, lucky chance. I don't know what to call that. That's pretty, do you know how they saw it specifically?
I don't know how they saw it. But like, that's kind of the thing that we kind of seen with our career is that, because we've never done like advertising for our production company. It's always just been, like when we get a client, we make sure that we make solid, good content. And then we make sure that we are really good to work with and we're really good to our clients, I guess. Like we always try to make our clients like our best friends. Like we go to dinner with our clients just to hang out all the time because we love being around our clients. And so let me interrupt you again. If we can hold our train of thought. Someone who hasn't maybe been a student of life, let's say maybe they're just a student, they might hear you say dinner with our clients and they maybe, don't quite it is. And I had to learn it too. I mean, it's an interesting balance, to just be natural when you care. You almost have to not want the thing that you think you want. Like you might think initially like, oh, I need to take my client to dinner so that they work with me in the future. But I don't know about you, but I know for me, I have to be aware of that. But I also had to let that stuff go. Actually, I really just couldn't do any of that business flair. Maybe I'm just an awful salesman and I just actually find a thing to actually do with the clients that we like. Cause we do like our clients as well, but I don't ask them to do anything that I don't want to do. Like one of our favorite clients, we went to dinner one night and I just talked about Logan the whole night after Logan came out. That was natural. Yeah. Well, that was natural, right? Like that's easy to do. I guess I'm just trying to maybe get your support here and also hear about what you guys think, because when you say be good to your clients, take them to dinner, I feel like that's something it's something someone could botch, and maybe just, I don't know. It's weird. It's like dating. Yeah. You kind of have to be cool, even though you want to be picked and you have to like care, but not care. That's my interpretation of it, at least. Feel free to comment. There's a definite like element to like caring and really wanting them to give you money. And like the other element of like, you don't want to overpitch yourself being like, hey, you need to hire me. Like I'm really good at filmmaking and I can make really awesome commercials and your commercials that you're doing right now aren't very good and I can do them, like you got to go there. And it's like for some of us, we don't do that with every single one of our clients. There are very like professional clients where we just like, it's just a transactional type of thing where they hire us. We're like, okay, cool. We'll make you a good video. And we do. And that's kind of how it goes. But there are definite clients where like mainly ones where we have to travel with them a lot. Like we love to go to dinner with them after the shoot's finished. And we just love to talk about whatever, we talk about movies. We talk about what's going on in our life, like how their family's doing. Like one of our clients, she loves she's so ingrained in her life that she even just messages our mom on Facebook sometimes, telling her mom like how much she loves working with us. Like that's how like the level of some of our clients, like that's how much they know our family, and like sometimes we just set up dinner engagements just to hang out because we haven't gone on a trip in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We just text them like, hey, we need to get together. We haven't been on a trip, so we haven't gone out to eat. And we go out to eat and we really don't talk about doing work together. We just talk about what's going on in their life. And so that makes them, in my feeling, like really be connected to us. So when they think about like a production company to work with, they rather work with the person that they really like, rather like, and not to say that we make bad content, because like they like us because we're good friends, but we also make really good content for them. And so that's kind of like the double-edged sword. Like you can't just be a crappy filmmaker and be really good friends with them and expect them to hire you. Like you have to have good work to back up, like being friends with them type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we've done.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that, like, as I'm saying or talking about this, and as you're talking about it, it probably sounds obvious, but it's one of those obvious things that when other commercial filmmakers find themselves in that position, it's easy to forget, because maybe you get nervous, maybe you get caught up, maybe you're behind a couple months and you really need that sale, so you just can't help but think about talking about it or something. But it sounds like you guys are cultivating genuine, authentic relationships with the people you're working with, and it sounds like that it's, working out for you.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, I know, and that is like that's the hard thing to balance, because like when you do need to like make that sale, but another thing to that, it's like, because we've kind of cultivated these relationships, like, because like, even though we've done work for Amazon, there are still months, because we're freelancers, like where we're like, Amazon hasn't contacted us. Our other clients haven't contacted us. We don't know. We don't have any work. We don't have any like shoots scheduled for the next like 2 or 3 months. How are we going to make money? So that happens sometimes. Like you can do work for like the biggest company in the world and that still happens. And so like the great thing about that is when you become friends with those clients, you can be like, you can reach out to them like, hey, is there anything we can do for you right now? And that doesn't sound super salesy because they know you, and you can reach out to them. And then most of the time when we do that, they're like, yeah, we actually do have a shoot that we could use you on, and they hire us and we get some cash. We've only had to do that a few times in our life, but like, because we've been friends with the client, we can actually reach out and be like, hey, do you got a video you can throw our way? And it works.
Have you guys started saying no to a certain size job to continue working? Are you flexible? Now, I know that could be a little too personal, maybe talking about budgets and the size of your projects, but I know a lot of production companies, some people just have 6 months of just fire nonstop work, and then they'll have a dead 6 months, just nothing. Now, we learned the hard way. This was a mistake that I made a few years ago. I was just all in whenever we would have a project, and I was totally on that project to the end. And then that project would end. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I should have continued the relationship and sales process, because now here we are done and we haven't lined anything else up. What is it for you guys that keeps you consistent, if anything?
So there is a level, we don't say no as much as I wish we did. I think that's probably my younger self, because my brothers are a little bit older than me. And I think my younger self thinking like, we can say no to projects. I don't know why I feel like it's a young personality trait rather than my brothers, but I feel like we should say no to projects more often than not. But we've taken gigs. I think just last year we did a gig for $5,000 where we had to pay for our flights to go out to Arizona. We had to shoot this music, like this intro to a music video. And then we had to come back and edit it all for $5,000, which our normal day rate, including all three of us in our gear, like just to shoot is $5,000 usually. That's kind of what we like usually do. And so like choosing a project from end to end was like $5,000 is like on the low end of what we do. And we took that mostly because it was a friend that we were doing it for. And it was a cool opportunity because we don't really do music video stuff very often. And so we were like, hey, this could be cool. Like we could put it like maybe on our reel at some point, or put this video up on our website or something like that. And it could be beneficial for us later on. And so that's why we did it. Or like sometimes when we're trying to get our foot in the door with a client, we do the project for like dirt cheap just to get our foot in the door so that they're like, oh, hey, these people actually do make good stuff. I'm going to hire them again. But then the next time we hire them, we try to charge what our actual rate is.
Right.
So it really fluctuates. Like we've done gigs for $5,000 all the way up to like half a $1,000,000 or $250,000. Like it's a wide range.
Yeah.
And the $250,000, those are few and far between. Like sometimes you get them. And then like the $5,000 ones, like those are very few. It's kind of like that middle ground. Like we get like 20 to like $100,000. That's kind of where our like budgets, we're not making all that money. That's just the budget of the actual commercial.
Yeah.
Kind of like where we lie.
This is going to sound silly and irrelevant, but watch me tie it in. When I was a kid, my mom wanted to take me to this Highland Games Festival, which I had no idea what she was talking about. And I threw a fit and I was like, I don't want to go. That sounds awful. I'd rather stay home and watch Power Rangers all day. Well, she makes me go and I end up like with a bacon wrapped turkey leg, watching huge dudes in kilts wrestle and having an awesome day. And I realized that young version of me, that was one of my first epiphanies. I was like, wow, I'm a punk. And I think I was wrong. And I'm glad I did this. That's relevant. You said, I wish we would say no. Maybe that's because I'm young. After doing those jobs, if you just took a broad view of all of those, do you feel like you are right or wrong? Or you don't have to get too specific with your answer, but do you still feel like you wish you weren't taking those jobs? Or do you look back and go, you know what? It doesn't make sense on paper sometimes, but the relationships we build from taking those small jobs have paid off just enough times to where it's still worth it to keep rolling the dice on those small jobs.
That depends on the day. That question, I have a different answer. Like if you asked me like last week, I'd probably have a different answer. But like that $5,000 music gig, he actually a year later is hiring us again, and the budget's bigger this time. And so that kind of, it's not much bigger, but it's still a little bit bigger. So like it's kind of paying off to where like now it kind of makes sense to make that. And going back to like that Amazon story too, like how we got contacted by Amazon, that like those people, like, yeah, they gave us a chance, like starting out, like they paid us $1,000 for this commercial. So like we did a low price to get in the door, but we kept doing that low price for a long time, you know, like we didn't get paid thousands and thousands of dollars from them for those commercials till like a year or so down the road. Like we were doing, it got bigger. Like first few we did for $1,000, and then it kind of got up to like $3,000 per video or things like that. And we the budgets got a little bit bigger, at least what we got paid. But at the beginning, like if you were anyone else, like 3 people with like, my brother was married at the time, me and my other brother were single. So like basically 4 people needed to live off of making $1,000 or $2,000 in a month from these people. And it wasn't like that, like most people would say no to that, but we said yes. And because of that, because we kept doing them, like we were able to land Amazon because Amazon saw our ads and was like, and going back to that story, like how they found us is like, they saw the ad, they contacted the company and they're like, we want to know who did this. And they were like, oh, these guys, the Lewis brothers did it. They're great to work with. And then we did our first video for Amazon, and it wasn't like a big commercial for Amazon. It was just a small like mini doc commercial. And then from there, we did that work, and another department at Amazon saw and like, hey, who did that? And so it was it's really just like word of mouth how we even got into Amazon. So I guess you could say it was luck, but behind luck with everyone, there's a lot of hard work. You know, we had to put years and months or whatever into like crafting our ability to tell stories and how to use cameras, and then also how to work with our clients, like how to be personable people. Because me, naturally, I'm kind of an awkward person. My wife loves to tell me how awkward I am sometimes. And so like it took years of practice on how to like communicate well. And once we kind of got that down, like those clients are constantly like referring us to other people. Like that's how they referred us to Amazon. They referred us to other people who let us travel the world with them. Like,
so it sounds like word of mouth has been probably, would you say your best best new business getting asset?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I would say that.
That's a good position to be in.
Yeah, it's like word of mouth, but like word of mouth kind of makes it feel like it's out of our control, which it kind of is. But there's that other side of it where it's like we talk about like just us networking with people. Like we attribute like all our success back to just like being good networkers. Like we go out of our way to make sure our client's happy. So then our client, whenever they're talking to someone else, they're like the first person that comes to their mind is us. And that's how, like, that one client who referred us to Amazon has probably referred us to 4 or 5 different people, and have those 4 or 5 different people have turned into like consistent, not like retainer clients, but like consistent client work that we're always doing work for.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like how this has kind of turned into a nice little business discussion, because the conversation usually turns into the art form or filmmaking. And I think if we had to break everything down, you and I would share a lot of similar roles at our companies. And we've had a lot of the same experiences at Film Cry. And I still feel like a garbage salesperson because I studied film and I've read and audibled all these sales books and stuff. And I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I can tell that there's been an improvement in communication. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe how much work it has taken to just not put my foot in my mouth. And I still do. And I'm like, I can't believe I've read 10 books on this, on like sales and negotiating and communication and business. And I still just feel like a dunce. But, and then to the business side of that, like with the referrals and the word of mouth, I would love to make just a cold, big sale one day with no existing relationship, because it seems like such a challenge to me. Yeah. And I mean, I'm grateful for the business we have and have had, but kind of similar to what you're saying, it's all connected somehow. And thankfully the reputation has been good. I think it's because everyone on our team is nice and very diligent and very hardworking and, kind and nice to hang out with. But yeah, most of our stuff comes back to existing relationships that do tie back to, the first few clients. So it's kind of similar, but yeah, I'd love to maybe in the future, you could shoot me an email or call me sometime to tell me about a successful cold reach out process that worked, because I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of fascinating to me. Like I would love to talk to a person doing sales in our position for production companies who's like, hey guys, this is the sure thing when you're reaching out cold. Works. I wish 60% of the time it works every time, just something that works. Cause I'm happy for you. I'm glad that stuff works for you, but it's kind of like when you hear the things that work over and over again, which is good because it's affirming, because, especially for, our younger or newer commercial filmmaking types, hear this stuff and just lean into it. You're hearing it from 2 different people right now saying that it works, but I don't know. Maybe I need a sales expert to come on and talk to us and give us a seminar on non-relationship sales. Maybe there's no such thing. I don't know.
Yeah, we've thought about doing that same exact thing. And it's just like,
really,
it's just like sometimes we actually even once hired some people who were like in sales, and we really like those people, but after like a year and a half, it kind of just, things weren't kind of like snowballing like we thought they would.
Can you tell me about that? So you did try to hire someone specifically for the purpose of new business? Yeah,
so just let me backtrack a little bit. Like we've always purposely kept our company kind of small because we don't like to have a lot of overhead as far as like we have all these editors and all these like directors and like producers. Like I know at Film Cry, you guys have like 3 or 4 directors, a couple editors and things like that. And like for us, like we've always tried to keep that small. And like if we need to hire something out, we just hire a freelancer and we just keep like a notebook of good freelancers that we like to use so we can use them on set. But we like to keep the group small because it's like, then we don't have to make a ton of money every year to actually pay our bills. Like we do our best to make like over 6 figures a year because we need to like fund our lives through 3 people. But we keep it small so we don't have to make millions upon millions every single year to fund our life. Anyway, but one year we hired like 3 people to kind of help us produce more movies and also help us produce different commercials for different clients. And it didn't really go the way that we thought it would go. It wasn't anything bad about the guys that we worked with. Like, we're still really good friends with them. And actually one of them is one of our current clients. Like, he went out and got a job at a different company here locally and then has referred us to be doing work for them. And last year we did some really cool stuff with some Olympic athletes because of that company, because he works at a fitness company. And anyway, so that right there even turned into a network, talking about networking, how it's all word of mouth. Like, that turned into a big client for us. Anyway, so we hired those guys. They reached out to people through cold calls, like emails, going and meeting with people. We went to networking conferences and just nothing ever really came of it. Like, we kept doing the same level of work we were doing with our current clients. We didn't really get any new ones. And it was just like, well, this isn't really working. So we're going to have to kind of go a different direction.
This is valuable stuff. I genuinely mean that. Obviously you can see me. I don't know why I just said this valuable stuff. It is valuable. I mean, it is. I'm enjoying it because it's validating. Because when we, so my wife and I lived in Austin for a bit, and I was trying to be tenacious, and I was like, all right, I'm the new business guy now. No more on-set producing, new business. Here I go. And it was humiliating. And I already thought that I was kind of an outgoing person, but I walked into, I'm pretty sure, every single agency in Austin. And Austin has a surprising agency scene. Like, there's a lot, and there are some good ones, and there are also some big ones there. But without specifically identifying anyone, if you look at the work that they've done, some of these agencies are massive. And I thought that based on their website, I was going to walk into a building with teams similar to the sizes of yours and mine. You know, I was like, I'm going to walk into this 1-floor office, you know, there'll be 2 or 3 rooms. It'll be super boutique and awesome. I'm going to give somebody a high five and introduce myself. And I would walk in, and I remember there was one, and they were like, which floor would you like to go to? And I was like, which floor? And they're like, yeah, there's 3 floors. And I just thought, wow, 3 floors. It's a big building too. And I just kind of snooped and took a look at all 3. And I was like, I did not see that coming from their website. And then similarly, there's this one small agency there who I'll brag on. They're called Bakery. They were in a house, and they were awesome. You look at their website, you think they're super cool. They're doing big stuff, and they were neat. But I say that to say, I was like, all right, I'm going to just humiliate myself. It'll be a little uncomfortable, but it'll be totally worth it in the end, because I'm going to get new business and make new relationships and I think there's like 15 agencies, and I am not in conversation with any of them anymore. Like, I don't think they even remember who I am at this point. So yeah, the cold meeting people as a salesperson, I haven't cracked the code on it yet, but if I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah, something that I've recently, like the last year, started doing. It still hasn't come of anything too much. But like, when I cold email people, like, I do my best to try to also not to pitch myself too much. I always try to, kind of like the email that I actually sent you, where it's just like, I try to create like what I like to call relationship anchors within the beginning, where I'm like, I say things that I genuinely mean. I'm not like making up stuff, where I compliment their company, or like some ads that they did. And then at the end, like, after I've told them like they're super amazing, I then pitch them like, hey, I want to add value to your company by doing this, by shooting this commercial for you. And we've done that. We've added value to these companies. I kind of give some stats of certain commercials we did. And that seemed to do kind of well. It started a couple conversations. It hasn't actually turned into a new client yet, but it's something that's kind of started conversations, which sometimes is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Because I would guarantee you we're not alone. Guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
On this. On that, I'm curious. So we're really diving. I'm so maybe I'm one of the few. I hope there's other business people who are in our shoes who would enjoy this as much as I do. When you do those emails, do you try to set up a call on that first email, or do you do that thing? Because now it's weird because it feels pushy to me. And if you do, I apologize.
No.
But like it feels pushy to me to be like, hey, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. We're this authentic, genuine, so-and-so. Can you hop on a call in the next 2 weeks? And I just can't bring myself to put that last line in there. Can you hop on a call? I kind of just leave myself out there to be ignored, which might be a mistake. But at the same time, I hate when I get those emails and people are like, hey, Cody, spell my name wrong. So I know you really don't care. Blah, 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 blah. Here's product. Can we hop on a call tomorrow? How's 2:30 p.m.? Sometimes they get so specific. I'm like, whoa, you do not suggest 2:30 p.m. to me, buddy. Like, this is my life.
Yeah. So what I do, I actually don't, I can't remember the email that I even sent you, but like, I always try to end with just, are you interested? Just to see. And then like normally kind of, I do follow-up emails that I send like 3 follow-up emails to whoever I'm talking to. But yeah, I never ask like, hey, let's jump on a call. Let's do this. I just want to intrigue them. I want to be like, hey, I'm giving you a compliment because I think your company's great. And I usually do mean that. And like, then I say, hey, I want to add value. Here's why I think I could add value to your current product. And then I end with just like, hey, are you interested? And then put the ball in their court. And then if I don't get a reply after a little bit, I send an email just saying, bumping this to the top of your inbox. And that's the follow-up I do. Just to kind of, and I do that a couple other times with a little bit variations on the follow-up. But that's kind of what I do as far as cold outreach.
Do you give up after the 4th? What do you do after that 4th or 5th email?
Usually I give up after a 3rd email. And if they never give a response, like the 3rd email is like, depending on the company and what I've said before, like I usually be like, I can see that you're really not interested with us, which is totally fine. Can you help give me like 1 or 2 ways about how I could improve this in the future? And usually sometimes,
sent that?
Yeah.
Have you ever received anything back on that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Sometimes you do.
It's a bold question. I think it's cool that you ask it.
The kind of the purpose a little bit of it too, I guess passive aggressive way, I guess you could call it. It's like a way to be like, where they're like, because they may have just saw the email and just not had time to reply to it. And then they see that like, hey, how can I improve? Because obviously the email I sent you wasn't good enough. And then kind of a little bit make them feel bad a little bit. Like, oh, I never responded to this person's email. And then they're like, hopefully going to be apologetic the next time and like, be like, yeah, let's jump on a call. It hasn't worked yet, but it's a shot in the dark. I'm testing it out. And still like a process that I'm trying to like tweak those emails.
I think I'd be scared to send that one.
It is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Like sending those emails is just like, I don't want this person to hate me. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but it's just like, if you do it with I feel like if you do it with like a good heart behind you, like, and you make it sound good in the email, you don't sound like a jerk or someone who's just being mean. You're genuinely just trying to find feedback on how you can improve. It doesn't come off as bad.
Yeah. In case you've been wondering at all, part of the reason I've been asking so much about how you do business is I'm curious. I find it to be interesting. Like I said a couple times before, especially for people in our position. And I have other friends at other production companies. I've got one friend, she and I talk about once a month and we just share stuff like this. She's in the same boat. But part of the reason I've been doing it with you today is because I know you guys do good work. I've seen I watched everything on your website.
Thank you.
I loved, and I think you do things wisely. You know, for example, in the beginning, you said you guys are quirky. Well, you have your Cyclops ad as kind of one of your banner thing. And it just immediately communicates something about you guys, that you're capable of that right away, right off the bat. You have that above your Amazon work, which to me communicates you're like, we have Amazon, but we do this, you know? So it's kind of, I get the idea that you're like, call us for this, which maybe I'm wrong. I would say today, if I was course creating business consultant, I would say to do what you guys do there, like put that spot on the top of your website that says, hire me for this one. We'll give you something like this.
Yeah.
And so the reason I've been, sorry, I'll just, the reason I was asking or mentioning that I've been talking about business with you is because it's not, I don't think the quality of your work, and it's certainly not Amazon on the top of your client list that would make people go, nah, I'm not emailing him back.
Yeah,
that's why I've been focusing on it, because it's not your work, it's not your client list, it's not your reputation, it's not your quality. It's just a mystery. I'm trying to crack it still, because you're obviously good enough.
Yeah, that's actually the funny part. Like when you do work for a company like Amazon, like we've done work for Amazon, Microsoft, Disney, DJI, like we've done work for big companies in the industry, like filmmaking industry, software, all that stuff. And you would think, okay, you've done client work like that. You are going to be making commercials for Nike. You're going to be making commercials for Ford, for every big company out there. Like you've done work for Amazon. You send an email to someone saying like, hey, I did this commercial. You think that they're going to hire you just because you did that commercial, but that's not true. It still comes back to you doing like the networking yourself in your own current clients, making your current clients higher paying clients, like leveraging your day rate with your current client. Like it still comes back to a lot of work that you have to do. It's not like you get with this one big client and you're like, I'm done. I made it. I'm one of the best commercial directors in the world. It's not that case. It's still, you still have to do that like starving artist type of work where you still have to like go out and actually work to get work. And it's tough. When we first got Amazon, we're like, we've made it. We're never going to starve again. We're going to be making $500,000 commercials every single time. We never have to go below we don't have to do those $30,000 gigs anymore, or those $5,000 gigs. But we slowly realized like, wait, we need to get repped by someone, like by an agency, by like, we need someone to, it's just such a fine thing to like figure out, like someone needs to rep us, then because that's where the big agencies go to. They go to those repped directors. And so it's just like, we're still working at it, because we do want to get repped at some point, and we still like every once in a while when we can figure out a way, find someone to try to rep us, we reach out to them. And it's that same thing where we're just like hustling, just trying to get it done. And kind of like what we've been talking about here, I feel like a lot of filmmakers, when you're like starting out, or even like I would say we're both successful at what we do, but we feel alone in our world where we're like, man, we suck at making commercials because we can't get another client like Amazon. Like we're terrible. And like, I feel that way all the time. There's like, some days I'm like, dude, we're so good. We're amazing. We're going to make millions. And then some days I'm like, man, I suck as a filmmaker. And that's kind of another reason, like, I don't want to plug it too much because I don't want to sound salesy, but like, that's another reason we kind of created that online course, is to kind of create a community of filmmakers that can boost everyone up. Because we also have like this Facebook group page that you can kind of talk with other filmmakers.
What's it called?
Well, it's just like
right now.
It's within the course. So it's like Film Creator Pro community. So it's like you buy the course and you're part of that community.
Okay.
I've thought about making like a public group, but I haven't quite done that yet. But it's kind of like, so we kind of created that so you can have like this community of filmmakers to kind of help you through like the hard times, because sitting at home in your office, just editing like a dumb music video that you didn't get paid any money for, but you think is going to give you exposure, is a very lonely world. And there's so many other filmmakers that are going through this struggle of trying to figure out, how do I be a better business person? Or how do I make better content, and like increasing that network of people that are like-minded like you, going through the same thing, really helps you feel like, okay, I'm doing the right stuff. I'm on the right path to make money,
Yeah. When we mentioned the reps earlier, we don't have to dive in as deep as we did on the email strategies, but how was that experience for you? Because I had a chapter for us as well, where I was like, oh, reps, easy. I'll just go get us a rep. I didn't hear back, or which kind of understandable with them, that they're probably like talent agents getting hit up all the time, though not as much. Or they said they're not taking on anyone new at the time. So I get that. I do. And I think to me, I was pretty burnt out. So that's where I left it. Did you learn anything in that process? Did you have any experiences worth sharing?
No, I feel like nothing worth sharing. And so it's kind of like we went through the same thing that you did. We got burnt out of trying to get repped. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately talking about like directors talking about their agent and getting repped by someone. And it's kind of got me start thinking about that again, about figuring out a way to get repped by an agent. But we kind of put it on hold for a while, kind of like you did.
Yeah. It reminds me of the whole gatekeeper thing with talent agents in LA and stuff. And I don't like it, but I also understand it because, you produce your commercials, so you can understand how swarmed you would be if you were in their shoes. So it's kind of like a necessary evil, I guess, because, you can't have 10,000 directors submitting for that next Nike spot. You need a fast and efficient way to cut it down. Which I think I was talking to Justin, he's the lead director at Film Cry. And I was like, next time something interesting works, I'd like to share it. Just, and kind of back to the beginning, like you with your course. I was like, some people might think that's giving away the secret sauce, if you will. I don't. Somebody's going to tell somebody a thing that works. Like there's really nothing that new under the sun, but I'd be happy to share that stuff if, when something works. And we are trying some stuff too, actually. And it's weird because they're in the name of new business, but if you look at it from a glance, you just wouldn't know that it's new business related at all.
Yeah. And that, like, even just going back to like the sharing the secrets, like that, I don't believe like if you hoard the secret, it's going to really be that helpful to you, because there's not a shortage of companies out there. There are so many new companies, like you said at the beginning of this, us talking here, like there's so many startups here in Utah. Like it's just like every day there's a new company starting a new business. And so it's like, there's never going to be a short of video work that needs to be done. And so if we can all band together in a way, like help each other out, that's so good. Cause like sometimes like it even happens to us, like a client comes to us and we can't take the shoot because we have another shoot in the meantime. So we just take that shoot and pass it on to someone else. And that sometimes is how we get shoots from people. Someone calls us like, hey, I don't have time to do this. Do you guys want to take this gig? And we're like, yeah, we'll do it. And we do it. And that turns into a new client. And so even that network of filmmakers that we have here locally and outside of Utah has helped us find new clients, even for our roster right now.
Yeah. We didn't, I didn't bring this up earlier, but you did mention how you guys want to do feature films as well. And if I'm understanding correctly, is the goal, because we have a similar goal too. I was very ignorant in the beginning about how often we would actually be able to do this. When I first started, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I left production in LA and I was like, this commercial producing thing sounds good. I think a couple times a year, I'll take 2 to 3 weeks to produce a big commercial and then I'll make feature films in between, which is like so laughable now in retrospect, at least doing so much on my own. But yeah, is that kind of what you guys are doing as well? Are you trying to bring in enough money? Do you have a piggy bank from jobs you've brought in to try and fund your own feature work?
Yeah. So like how it works. So we made our first feature, it was a number of years ago. And that first one we made it for dirt cheap. All our family was in it. Our friends helped shoot it, helped boom it, like mic it and stuff. And we shot that thing for like under $1,000. It made a decent splash inside the film festival circuit. We made it into one of the top 10 film festivals like in the world. It was CineQuest. It was really good. It was fun. We had a great time doing it. And since then, like we've helped on a lot of other people's features. We've edited a bunch of different, like a handful of features. And like this summer we helped on a set doing promotional work for a feature. And so that's kind of how it's worked for us. But like, definitely, as you say it, like we thought, okay, we'll do commercial work. That's going to fund our features. And we'll do we'll just take a couple months, like a month out of the 12 months in a year, we'll take a month out, we'll shoot a feature, and then we'll go back to doing commercial work. But then it gets to the point where it's like that month when we want to shoot that feature, like Amazon says, hey, do you want to shoot this video for us? We have $200,000 for you if you can shoot this commercial in 2 weeks. And we're like, feature? That's probably not going to make us any money, or 200 grand. We're going to go with Amazon. And so that's kind of what happens a lot of times. Like our commercial work takes precedence. No, wrong choice. Bad word there, but like takes priority over like our feature films. But over the years, like we have created that nest egg to where like now we're going to, like this year, we're going to fund our first feature for ourselves. And we're in the process of writing it right now. We're kind of still like brainstorming ideas. Because also to that vein of like making movies, you got to get funding for that movie. And that takes forever. And so we've tried to do that, try to get funding from films for the last like 4 or 5 years. And we've gotten kind of sick and tired of people saying, we can get you that money. And then 6 months later, they just fall off the map and we don't talk to them for another year. So this year we're like, okay, no matter what, we're making a feature and we're going to fund it ourselves. So it's going to be bare bones, but it's going to get made. And that's what we're doing.
Nice. Well, I would love it if you would share that with me once you guys get started on the next one. I've probably hit a reasonable time cap here. So is there anything that you may have wanted to share that we didn't get to touch on today?
No.
Yeah.
I think we talked about a lot of stuff
pretty well in the open too.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about like just what I wanted to just give value to your audience is just like how, like our networking, like that's kind of like the biggest thing that I love to tell people. And like we hit on it all the time in the course, like just like the way you make it in this business is through the people, like find your network, grow your network, be good friends to your network, and your work will grow along with making quality content, obviously. But that's just something I don't think a lot of people talk about enough, is that to grow a business, it's who you know. And if you don't know anybody, go out there and do your best to try to meet people, whatever way you can.
It sounds like, that's one of those things that is going to transcend decades. There's some old dog sales tactics that you can let go of, but that one doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. Well, thanks for talking to me about all this stuff. I'm gonna wrap us up here. I don't think anyone's going to listen to us talking about emails past an hour and a half, but
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for jumping in and sharing some business stuff with me. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode with Taylor Lewis from Atomic City. You can find links to their website and social media, as well as their free filmmaking guide in the show notes. If you have any feedback for us, please just leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, or you can reach out to us on Facebook and or Instagram. From Cry, I'm Cody, and this is Filmmakers and Advertising.